joining us now for an update from the law enforcement perspective. He is the West Bloomfield Township Deputy Police Chief and Public Information Officer Curt Lawson with us once again on the Oakland County Megacast. Deputy Chief Lawson, thank you for being with us today.
Well, good morning. Glad to be here. I don't know who put me on after Stacy, but I'm going to try to raise up my energy level and see if I can compete because she does an absolutely amazing job.
Yeah,
it's great to be here.
Oh, yes. Very tough shoes to fill on that end. That is a lot of positive energy from one person. We appreciate having her on. So, Curt, in the last several weeks, businesses have had more regulations put on them in terms of particularly the executive order from Governor Whitmer requiring mask wearing in all public indoor facilities and all outdoor gatherings where social distancing is not going to be possible. We've spoken with many of these local businesses, and even yesterday we spoke to State Representative Mari Manoogian, who very strongly had an opinion that the enforcement of this should not necessarily be on the employees at these locations, but should be on the employers and the local law enforcement. From West Bloomfield's perspective, how closely have you been working with these local businesses since this mask order was put in place, and even beyond that, as they've worked through trying to put their best foot forward in following these rules, following these guidelines, enforcing them properly, but minimizing any sort of incident potential?
Well, that's a great question. So the executive order that you're referencing is 2020-147. That executive order came out on July 13th, and that really mandated that businesses needed to post that in order to come inside the business or the business that's open to the public, that you need to be masked up. And there were some exceptions to that rule, but the question is, how do you enforce this? And we've seen several incidents around the country where an employee or a customer has confronted an individual about a mask, and the situation has escalated, and we've even seen deaths as a result of that. But what we're doing here in West Bloomfield, very fortunately, is we have a great partnership with our businesses. So how we're treating this is, if they have a concern about a customer that's not wearing a mask, they've been giving us a call. We will come over. The business will ask the individual to leave or put on a mask. If that individual does not do that, we treat it like a trespassing complaint. So that person then can be cited as a trespass. Fortunately, though, we have had no issues where we've had to cite anyone. We've had a couple of individuals that preferred not to wear masks. They were asked to leave, and they did so.
Curt, we're seeing reports of face mask exemption cards, and you can even Google that and print one off online. Is there such a thing? And if someone presents one to a business, should they accept it?
I am not aware of that card, so I can't comment any further than that. But that's one of the problems with this is, how do you verify? So, businesses just have to use their best judgment. But we are really encouraging our residents certainly to wear masks, to keep that social distancing. I really do believe that Michigan has listened to the medical experts where they're saying, if you wear masks and you keep that social distance, you use the proper hygiene, that we're going to be able to beat COVID-19, and the data supports that.
Curt Lawson with us. He's the Deputy Police Chief and Public Information Officer for West Bloomfield Township and their police department. Curt, as we're heading toward next week's primary elections and into the general elections, a lot of local municipalities are doing their part in partnership with Oakland County to provide extra opportunities to ensure that every voice is heard and every voter, particularly the absentee voters who are voting by mail in many cases, are able to have their votes counted and in on time. And to do that, one method they're using are these ballot drop-off locations. They look kind of like mailboxes, and I know West Bloomfield Township has one on site on the library side of Town Hall at the Civic Center complex. There may be some concerns with the safety of those votes, even though the police department is on site there. What is your department doing to monitor that site and ensure that in partnership with the clerk's department, ensure that these voters' ballots are going to be able to be submitted safely, and our voters can be reassured that when they drop their ballots off at Town Hall, they won't be tampered with?
So we've been in contact, the chief and I, with Clerk Binder and her team several times a week. They put a metal security box that's clearly labeled on the west side of Town Hall where our residents can go ahead and drop those ballots off. So there's no concern on our part that there's going to be tampering with those ballots. And we have our officers extra patrolling in that area on a daily basis. So I'm very confident that those ballots are secure and that every vote's going to count.
Good to hear that. For the residents of West Bloomfield who are voting absentee and submitting their ballots, you can do that at Town Hall. There's a ballot drop box, as we mentioned, on the West Bloomfield Library side of the building. Curt, you have some new recruits that have joined the police department. We saw a picture just a day ago of a picture being taken inside Town Hall with Clerk Binder swearing these new officers in, with all the tension surrounding policing in the United States and in our community. What advice are you giving to these new recruits? And as they're coming in, what is your department emphasizing as they begin their career in law enforcement in some cases, or begin their career in the West Bloomfield Police Department?
Well, it's been a difficult process over the last 5-6 years on just recruiting the top quality people that we're looking for. And we won't settle for anything under the top 1%. And we want to find individuals that represent the diversity of our community, individuals that are tech savvy, ability to communicate, and of course we need to have common sense. And you put all those things together and it kind of lowers that candidate pool. And then when you see all the negativity towards law enforcement on a national scale, it's been very difficult for us to recruit. But I am happy to report that we just got 3 amazing individuals, Quentin Gaines, Adriana Peruzzi, Chris Salita. All 3 of them were police service aides within our police department between 1.5 years and 2 years. We got a great relationship with them. We got to see them over a period of time and see their work ethic and how they treated the community at the front desk. And they just got done with the police academy and they just came on, got hired, sworn in by Debbie Binder. And we're thrilled to have them as part of our team.
Well, Curt, we thank you for being on with us. Just another minute or so with you. Anything else you'd like to touch on today before we let you go?
Well, I think you touched on it a little bit. Like, there's certainly concerns from leaders in law enforcement about where our profession is going. We've seen reduction in pensions throughout the country. Benefits have been reduced. And officers are really asked to be the jack of all trades. And it's a difficult situation that we're in. But here in West Bloomfield, we have the support of our trustees, the township supervisor, and of our residents, and we just greatly appreciate that. And we're going to continue to be what I consider maybe the best, if not the best, police department here in Oakland County, and that's because of the support of our community, and we appreciate that.
Curt, real quick before we let you go, if someone is interested in joining the force there in West Bloomfield, when is the next class and what are the steps needed to get started?
So just have them email me here at the West Bloomfield Police Department or call the West Bloomfield Police Department and we'll point them in the right direction. We are always looking for candidates. It's not just a certain period of time where we're accepting applications. So we would be more than willing to talk to anyone out there who has an interest in law enforcement as a career.
Well, Curt, thank you very much for being with us today.
Take care. Thanks for having me.
You as well. Deputy Chief Curt Lawson and Public Information Officer as well for the West Bloomfield Township Police Department. We appreciate having him on and discussing the continued battle against COVID-19.